Right then, Muckers. Oh, you bastard. Oh, it's gone every f***ing way. Look, this is just... Right, Muckers. Well, today I'm going to start the service on the 7810. The first thing we're going to do is start with the fuel filters. Now, as you can see, probably, that isn't... It's not the best. There's a fair bit of gunk in there. So we can swap these out, as I said. We've got the new filters there. But this got me thinking about what happens when, you know, we can no longer get diesel. What do we do about alternative fuels? Now, I know there's been a lot in the mainstream media and social media, you know, about alternative fuels, especially from a couple of engine manufacturers that have gone on about hydrogen. There are also many other alternative fuels, but it's not so much that, it's the cost. Nobody's really been talking about whether it's hydrogen or methane or LPG. If you do swap to an alternative fuel, because you have to, because diesel, let's say, becomes too expensive, what about the infrastructure? Where is it being made? How is it being transported? How are we storing it? These are all costs, and these all add up. And that's what it's basically coming down to. It's all right, the powers that be giving, oh, we're doing this to become carbon neutral by 2050. They're doing it so they can look at other ways of increasing tax. That's what it's about, right? We're not going to kid ourselves. But as an end user, you know, what is the implications financially to us? You know, because it's all right sort of saying, well, I want to do my bit for the environment, you know, as a car owner or a tractor operator. Okay. Yeah, that's great. We all want to do our bit for the environment. Nobody wants to live in an air, you know, an atmosphere that we can't breathe. Nobody wants to see the land, you know, completely just decimated and it doesn't grow anything. We know that. That's an obvious one. But at the end of the day, the biggest question is, what's it going to cost? Yeah, I'll do on your alternative fuel. What's it going to cost? What's the saving for me? What's the actual outlay cost going to be? These are the questions. Let's face it, it's all about money. For the rest of you, next time you're talking to a Facebook expert, right, that's telling you about, you know, how oil will never run out and we don't need all these alternative fuels, let me give you a quick crash course into drilling for oil. Now, with my oil field hat on, and this genuinely is my oil field hat, this is a very, very simplistic layman's term for drilling for oil, all right? Now, there's your ground, there's your rig, very simple, right? And down there is the payload. That's your oil level, all right? Where the oil is. And it's not just like in a big pocket, in like a little tank under the ground. It's like a sponge, if you imagine a hard sponge. So it's got all loads of little holes in it, and that's where all the oil is, in all the little holes. All right, so what you do is obviously you drill, and you keep drilling down, thousands of feet, and you're down, and eventually you get into the oil level, all right? And that's where the oil is there. So another way of looking at it, quite simple, is if that's like your well full of oil, all right, and you've got gas in there. So you're going to be drilling with your drill pipe. Eventually go down, and you actually strike where the oil is. Put a thumb over there. And don't forget there's gas in there as well. So as soon as you get into that, put a bit of gas in.
It ain't got no gas in it.
The oil comes out because it's being pushed out by the gas. But in areas that are completely oil rich and there's loads of oil, we don't want that gas. Initially, we don't want to get rid of the gas, so that's when you see them flare it off. So you get rid of that initial gas until the oil comes out. So first off, you get gas and then you get the oil, in most cases, all right? So what happens then, obviously, up it comes, and all the oil comes out and whatever, you've seen all that. Right, so then they can actually control the well and let it flow. So the gas, what's left in there, is pushing the oil out and it goes to process and whatever. But eventually, when the gas runs out, so it just stops. The oil stops coming out. Now, in oil-rich areas, you could say, you know, oh, we'll put a pump on that. And then people do put pumps on. You've seen the nod and donkeys and stuff like that. But there's a cost to that. It's a big piece of engineering. It needs to be run and maintained, and there's a cost. But in oil-rich areas, you don't need to. You just go, forget that one, that's now stopped coming out, we'll go on to the next one. And you move on, and you start drilling again, and away you go again. And you just keep moving on. The thing is, that quite often you leave, once that gas is gone, and it's not just pushing itself out, you leave 60, 70, even 80% of the oil is still in the well. But you got the best of it, the easy part, and you move on to the next one. Okay, now, get to the point where these wells are now becoming few and far between in this particular oil patch, all right? And they're sort of saying, look, you know, it's becoming too expensive now, and we can't just keep drilling wells, we're leaving so much behind. And, you know, oil prices are going up, it's worth us going after it. So, next well they drill, they want to just flare the gas off, get rid of it. We're like, no, don't flare the gas off, we'll use the gas. Here's what we do. So, rather than getting rid of the gas and just burn it off, pipe the gas to a compressor plant, and that's where yours truly and the guys would come in, and basically what, you know, the system we had with the EGI, the artificial gas lift, had two big walk-ashore engines, which were V16s, and each of them were 4,500 horsepower at about 850 RPM. All right, and they were running big 5-stage dresser-ran compressors behind them, massive units. All right, and here's the thing: so we took the first part of the gas that was coming out of the well and put it into a molecular sieve, a mole sieve, and cleaned that all down, scrubbed it down, and made gas that was good enough to be a fuel. Split that off, so out of the mole sieve, that's what these engines would run on. They would run off the gas coming out of the well, but it's all scrubbed down and cleaned and all the crap taken out. You could run these engines off its own fuel, basically. Then that would obviously drive the compressors. The rest of the gas is then put into compressors, pumped up 5 times, right, in 5 stages. So that's, the pressure goes up. You'd then send that gas, which is high, so it's low pressure coming in here, high pressure coming out of here, and then back down those old wells, and you'd start again. Now you've got more gas going back down, the gas pushes that oil out, and these wells then are operating again. And you're getting more and more, and you're actually quite efficient. You get sort of down to, there's only like 20-30% left in the well. You'd get another sort of at least 50% out. But, this is the thing. That's all very well. You say, oh, that's great, you know, we can go on for years. That, when you just drill in and the oil just comes out, is basically for free as far as input goes. You just drill it, that's your cost to drill it, explore and drill. But now you've got another cost of this. To do that, to run those 2 units each year, let me tell you, was several $1 million. And that's going to be passed on to somebody down the line, all right? And everybody's putting their bit on. So when you get the guy then who's at the gas pump, all right, and he's there and he's filling his truck up, that is now going to go through the roof because of all these extra costs. Yes, we're still getting oil, we're still processing it, that's great, but the cost now is astronomical, and that's the point that's going to happen quite in the near future. And as I said, that's why we've now got to look to alternative fuels to bring that cost back down again, because this is now, you know, we're seeing already it's starting to become very, very expensive. Like I said, we are at $10 a gallon for our American colleagues there. It's about just under £7 a gallon for us over here in the UK pound. £7 is what it is roughly at the moment. So it really isn't looking bright. As I said, we're not depleting the oil, but you know, we still get oil, but it'll be kept for bigger industry. So we've got to look at alternatives. So there we are, muckers. As I said, just a basic overview, layman's terms, but it shows why we need to be looking to the future. Now, here's the thing, okay? So there are companies out there, obviously, at the moment that try to push and promote their alternative energies, and that's all very good. But there's obviously a lot of people in the mainstream media and on social media with agendas, which is why they're pro or against it. There's also a lot of idiots who just, as I said, read something on Facebook, sort of regurgitate half of it, add a little bit in for their own opinion, and what you end up with is just utter shite. So, my plan for 2022, in amongst everything else we're doing, 7.8, and looking at new machinery and other stuff we're doing, and this, that and the other, is to look are the alternatives, the alternative fuels. Now, to kick this series off, as you know, I've been working with New Holland, obviously with the T7. And I think most of us know that New Holland have been working for several years on a methane-powered tractor. Now, methane. Do you think that could work with like somebody's personal car or maybe a chainsaw? Probably not. But what about in agriculture, where agriculture, with a byproduct of agriculture with cattle and also vegetable waste, one of the byproducts is methane. Well, what about that? So in certain sectors, could methane work? Certain sectors, there's the key. Remember, using the right fuel for the right application. Could methane work in ag? Well, I went along this week to the Dow show, and there's New Holland's methane tractor. And this is what I found out. Because you're obviously YouTube famous, you know how to do all this. Okay, so I'm with David Redmond from New Holland, obviously, and this is the methane tractor. And right, David, this isn't going to be the thing that solves all issues for the rest of the world, is it?
No.
You're quite open about that it's got its place.
Yeah, for sure.
For doing the right thing in the right place in the right environment. And so everyone's going to say, the first thing they're going to say is, well, yeah, but diesel tractor. If I was going to do 12 hours on diesel, the equivalent tractor,
yeah,
how long will this do?
Yeah, okay, that's the common question.
Yeah.
So, roughly speaking, again, it depends what application you're going to put it into. So, as we said, it's not for everybody. A general day, 8 hours, I would say.
All right.
On general.
So not
general
half,
time.
but more. So yeah, so it's 3/4.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Is it down on power compared to the diesel?
No. So.
Or torque?
No, from day one.
Yep.
Day one. This has got the same 6.75 litre engine as the diesel equivalent.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's the same engine block. The only bit that changes is the cylinder head. And one thing that we tried to do is we tried to keep the same power, which we've done. So it's 145 horsepower at rated.
Yep.
175 horsepower at boosted.
Boost. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And she's got 740 newton meters of torque.
So the same.
Same as the diesel. I'll be honest with you, if you drive it, apart from the sound, you wouldn't know any difference.
Okay. So let's just say then, people are yeah, but I need to plough for 12 hours, and this is, well, then don't buy the methane, right? If we were running, let's just say, if you had an AD plant.
Yeah.
So, big veg boys.
Yes.
I'm going to give you a scenario. Big veg boys, so they're carting all the veg waste back to their AD plant. In their AD plant, they obviously make the gas. They run 2 generators.
Yeah.
Which are run off the gas, right? Well, what about having this carting the waste to the AD plant, day in, day out, using the same gas that the waste is generating, that feeds the generators, and he could fill up, oh, let's just say he would do 2 days, just roughly, 2 days on a tank with the diesel. Mid-afternoon on day 2, he has to fill up this, all right, or at lunchtime, a little bit. But here's the thing, the cost
is nothing, and it only takes 5 minutes to fill. She's 200 bar working pressure, takes 5 minutes to fill, it's clean, there's no smelly diesel, and then away you go again.
So what we've got then is, like that, you got virtually free fuel as such.
Free fuel.
All right.
Yeah.
So look, let's be honest about it. We're not going to go down. I know they tell you that we've got to be carbon neutral, and we don't. At the end of the day, the biggest decision that any company's going to make is how much does it cost.
Yeah.
And if you're offering a machine runs on free fuel, potentially.
Farmers love the word free.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, they do. Exactly. It's all about the profit margin. Yeah. And if you can help that with free fuel as such.
Yeah.
All right, so that's AD. What about if they had a big dairy unit?
Yeah.
And you've got the methane from all the slurry and stuff.
Yeah.
Could you use that as capture?
Yes.
You can.
Yeah, so again, we have to cap slurry pits, don't we? There's I don't know what the year is, but it's not too far away. Put a cap over the top, make sure the gas is cleansed.
Yep.
compressed, and again, yeah, you can use it to power this tractor. So it's not just a biodigester plant now. All of a sudden, we've opened up the market to dairy units and dairy units, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So
again, with virtually free fuel.
So fuel tanks, these down here, these are all in here, are they?
Yeah, they are indeed.
Right. Okay.
So we've got tanks in here.
Yeah.
We've got 3 tanks in the front on the side here.
Yep.
And then if we walk round to the other side as well, we've got more tanks underneath here as well, which are CNG
Okay, yeah,
tanks.
yeah. Right, so.
Big question. This was involved in an accident
Exactly.
and piled into the back of someone.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Because that's, I'll ask the question.
Yeah.
What happened?
Okay, so first of all, I don't think this would come off. If you look at the engineering that's around here, the thickness of the steel and everything,
that is
she's fairly
proper, isn't it?
Yeah. She has been crash tested, so that's not a problem. So the tanks on the tractor, they're something that we haven't designed. They're actually an industry tank. The tanks are actually burst pressure tested to 700 bar.
Right.
So in effect, if it is involved in an accident, I don't think they're ever going to get to that pressure in the tank and burst. Okay, but let's say, and hopefully it never happens, let's say this does get involved in an accident and this comes off.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of the tanks have got shut-off valves on.
Okay.
So every time you turn the ignition key on and you turn the tractor to start, it initiates all of the tanks around the tractor.
See around the side, there's pipe work and whatever.
So in here, we've got 3 tanks, 90 litres in here.
Right.
But what we've got is we've got these shut-off valves. Okay, and these are safety valves. So they will manually, as soon as they lose power, they will manually shut down and they will isolate the whole tanks.
Okay.
Yeah. What you can also do
solid
is you can physically here manually switch
them off
and turn them back on again.
Okay.
So they've got safety in mind. Also, if you have a look, there is a pipe that runs up and it sits just underneath here. So in the event of any high pressure scenario, the tractor will vent itself.
Okay.
Completely release the gas.
Brilliant.
So yeah, safety in an accident, safety conscious completely.
Alright, so if as an example you want to put a set of weights on the front or linkage or something like that, can you get round it? Obviously, is there room for weights in there, or is it weighted already?
So that's weighted already. So the front, as we call it, the range extender with those tanks in, that weighs 853 kilograms. So it's pretty much similar to a front weight block on a tractor. So we've designed it as a front weight and as a gas carrying capacity as well. So, yeah. If you wanted to put front linkage on, obviously you'd have to take that tank off.
Yes.
And you as the end user would have to mount it on a 3-point linkage.
Yeah.
If you wanted to put a loader on it.
Yes.
If we wander around the back, I can show you as well. So there's a point round here, just on the back of the tractor. So that silver pipe that's just there is actually a gas pipe as well. So you can connect in on the back of the tractor if you needed to as well.
Okay.
So again, 853 kgs carried on the rear end.
Again, it's horses for courses, because realistically though, if you're going to use this, as we said, at this point, and technology is evolving and changing every single day. So if we stood here in a year's time, I guarantee this will be able to do more. You're going to, that's what happens, isn't it? So, but at the moment, why would you need a front linkage anyway? Because we just said good transport tractor, right? So
when you look at the UK market, front linkage is, I call it, is basically a weight carrier. A lot of people will just use front linkage to carry a weight. And just to drop it on and off easily, because weights are not easy to take on and off. That's simple as that. So, okay, if you have a front PTO, you're probably using a mower. It's a slightly different scenario, but the majority of tractors with front linkage.
And a different use for the tractor again. As we said, you're going to be away long hours. Probably not going to spec the methane, are you?
No, exactly.
So, it's alright, they've always got a negative slant. Well, I wouldn't do this or that, the other. Why would you have spec that to do this, that or the other?
I mean, this tractor's not special. It will do everything a normal diesel tractor will do. It's got a PTO, as you can see. It's got a rear linkage. It's got all of the bits that a diesel tractor will have. The only real difference is, and it pretty much looks the same as well, the only difference is it runs on gas.
Now, another use I could see for this is for people that want to go to the zero carbon and all this, that and the other. Like the municipal people, councils and stuff like that, for parks and amenity stuff, they're always trying to do that. Fantastic, because you know, I'm not going to upset any, I am going to upset someone here. They don't tend to work long days, do they? Let's face it.
I didn't say
you
that.
didn't say that. I just did. But no, but seriously, they don't tend to do a 12 or 14-hour working day. So an 8-hour capacity, fantastic for mowing and stuff like that. Again, another good use, isn't it? And a lot of their vehicles already are on gas, aren't they? You know,
so a lot of municipalities like dust carts and even buses are running
buses and that on gas as well, aren't they? So diesel and methane. I'm going to buy a diesel one, I'm going to buy a methane one, cost-wise. Difference?
Yeah, there is a difference. So, and the difference is not because we want to charge more for the tractor.
There's a lot of engineering in there, isn't there?
There's a lot of engineering, but where a lot of the cost is, so on a diesel tractor, T6.180 has a plastic diesel tank, non-metallic diesel tank if you want to put it. We've taken that away, but we've obviously put those gas cylinders that I showed you. They're not a cheap option, so that's where some of the cost is. So there is slightly more costly to buy than a diesel tractor, that's for sure. However, the savings when you start picking in the fuel and everything outweighs it, and you get about a 30% saving compared to diesel.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so that's great. We know all the stuff that New Holland have just told us and how brilliant it all is. What are the chances of me having to go on one of these, David? In the future, come on, like, I'd love to be able to run one of these for a day and show everybody, but it's all right talking about it, giving specs. I actually want to hear one.
Okay.
Right, and so, can you sort something out with that?
As it's you, Carl, I'm guessing we could do something, I'm sure.
There we are, do well. So, there we go. That's one alternative fuel source. And as we said, used in the right application. At this point in time, don't forget, technology is always moving forward. But at this point in time, could you go out ploughing, contracting 12 hours a day? No. Okay. But could you use it for running backwards and forwards on an AD plant? Yeah. Could you use it, like I said, the council, municipal stuff? Yeah. And things will only get better. Things will, as D. Reed always said, but things will only get better. Energies will improve. Efficiency will improve. So, yeah, that's what we've got to look forward to. Don't be afraid of it. If you could cut down on your inputs, your running costs, that's better on your profit margin. But let's not forget, you know, you've got to find the infrastructure. You can't just obviously have a Bowser just full of methane. You've got to have a proper methane unit, you know, to actually boost it all up, whatever. What's the cost in that? These are things we've got to find out, muckers. I want to know those answers. There's a lot of water in here. Right then, muckers. Oh, you bastard. Oh, it's gone every fucking way. Look, this is just artist. It's everywhere. Right. My word. So in the top there, let me just mop this old shite up, because most of it's water. That's what I was saying. It's just not like it's a disaster. It just is water. Pterodactyl spaff, I think. All the good stuff. Then we've got, let's just take this off here. Oh, what a treat. You can see the water in that, look. See that? And in there. So that's what we've got. Actually hasn't been done for a while. Right, so there we go. That's the sediment bowl all clean, muckers. So that's the sort of first line of defence, and then obviously we'll now look at the filter itself. Not great, but it's a lot better, this one, Muggers. So from the bottom there is a lot cleaner. So that's obviously the sediment bowl's done its job and kept most of the crap at bay. So it's not perfect, but it's actually done its job. So So, question time, Muckers. Quite a simple one, really. So this year, what alternative fuels should we look at? Put your answers in the old squit bit below, in the comments section, alright? And then I'll have a look, and then I'll get in touch with various engine machinery manufacturers and also fuel producers. And we'll see what they got to offer. And we'll see, again, where it fits into what application. But like I said, I'm not going to go down the same route as just to get an interview or a video, as a lot of creators and that do, where they are quite happy to accept questions that are already pre-written and get a pre-written set of answers. No, if I'm going to be working with somebody, they're going to be open and honest about their system or their product, and they'll answer the questions that we want to know the answers to. You cold? Is it that time again? Yes? Looks like it is, Muckers. Anyway, something a bit different this week. Something looking towards the future for a change. And anyway, until the next one, do well.